on the kind of around the corner, 90 degrees from the, there was nothing there on Saturday or Sunday.
So I was there.
Or Monday.
I was there at Saturday afternoon, because that's when, yes, I was there, and it was posted.
Oh, would you please send me that picture and the timestamp?
I do sometimes take pictures. I'm not 100% sure if I did or not, but I think I sent it to.
The picture would have it on there.
Now, aren't we
To one
also
of-
putting it on the website, though?
It is on the website, too.
At the same instant, right? I mean,
At the same time, actually, that's usually posted early.
And I tell you, here's the thing. See, even tonight and at other meetings, the mayor has mentioned that several of our citizens don't have internet, don't have phone, all this kind of thing. And I don't want meetings to just kind of like slip past those poor people.
So I would, once we get a permanent place for our town hall, I would love to invest in a bulletin board that is locked, and so that if someone were to try and make that disappear, then we would have it locked, and that's what most municipalities have, is a locked bulletin board with a glass frame. But they are about $600 though, so I haven't been in any hurry to buy one. All right, so Chad West, did you want to speak to this? Kenzie Salisbury, Kevin Sinkovich, Sherry Benson, Chad McFarland, Patrick Smith. Okay. Okay. Now, are we ready? Okay. Executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code Section 551.001, the Town Council will recess into executive session, a closed meeting, to discuss the following. A, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with the attorney. A governmental body may not conduct a private consultation with its attorney except, 1, when the governmental body seeks the advice of its attorney about A, a pending or contemplated litigation, or B, a settlement offer, or 2, a matter in which the which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Rules of Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Board of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter. The letter received from Solid Vendors. B, Texas Government Code Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. A government body may conduct a closed meeting to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value or real property if deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third person, the town hall site location. So the time is now 10:33. We're going to go into executive session. We've returned from executive session. We're opening up the general session again to take any action, if any, on matters discussed in executive session. So I think the first executive session, do we have any comments on that? I think we've decided that Councilmember Jaffe was going to reach out to the solid waste vendors, and there was only two, can we say that? Two vendors, or two residences on each list that were in dispute, and so the rest of them, so it was like 2% maybe. So he's going to reach out to them and see if we can't work that out with them. So. And then on the second item under executive was about we were going to talk about, we're not going to talk about land, but we are going to talk about the building. I think we talked about that. It's a land that's still confidential for now, and then once we solidify something, then we can bring that to public. So what we were going to talk about the building itself, the annex building. So what do the council members want to say about that?
So what did Carl Crow say the cost would be to move the septic?
He didn't say specifically. He said that because it's new and it could be moved, he said that you would have to, of course, first thing you have to, on the property, you'd have to get I think it was $350 for the engineering survey, or excuse me, the septic engineer, thank you, the septic engineer. So get that done, and then excavate the pit, and then once it moved, then empty out the new one, or the one at the annex currently, and then move it over. So it is possible. He said it's very possible. The money that we had fundraised as a town went to pay for the actual septic, and he donated his labor. I don't know that he would do it a second time. I think his labor was like $1,800 or something.
Okay. And what does the north wall look like on that building as it attaches to the annex? Is it weather tight?
No, that would have to be made weather tight. So we did separate them, but it would take some more work, and we probably could get one of my guys to help, carpentry some of that. And I think the Solellos had donated some time on that, and so they actually, yeah. So, and we do have another door donated, though. Someone donated another door for an exterior so that we would have that anyway.
So Tara, are we looking for an action on the building, I guess?
So I think to your point, you were saying we haven't really said that we were going to accept the
Right.
gift that Brett Patterson generously donated to pay for the moving service of that building. It would take us, in preparation, and there's some things that have to happen, to disconnect the water and the septic and the electricity, and the electricians that have been donated their time in numerous hours. They said, hey, give us some time and we can heads up, and then we can do all that. And they are journeyman electricians, and so there's two there. So they were willing to do that. And as far as the septic and the plumbing, I don't think it's that complicated, but I think that man over there did a lot of that anyway. He could.
So the sense of urgency, though, that you've raised a couple of times is the 120 days. I mean, Dale, who gave us that number, is sitting here. Is that a drop-dead number? If we don't have it out in 120 days, you're going to set fire to it, or?
Well, we do have builders
just
at
don't
risk
wanna-
insurance, thankfully.
I don't want to end up with a free horse and no place to put it, so I'm just a little worried here before we have a better idea of its landing spot and all of the costs and other things. I mean, I appreciate the offer to move it, and I'll take him at his word that he's going to cover it, whatever it ends up being, but there's going to be other incidental costs that,
Well, putting in the septic could be,
Water meters?
the water meter was donated originally.
well, we got
so-
some connections with the water department. We could make that happen.
I can't discuss that.
Well, we'll talk to
So-
Kevin about it, then we'll go over your head.
Yes, the Poetry Water Supply donated that meter. Now, depending on what land we go to, it might already have a water meter. I don't know.
Well, my recommendation would be based on they're not going to tear it down in 120 days. I don't think they're going to. It stood for all these years, and it's in a safe condition right now, that we gather more numbers about the total cost and where we're going to put it and all of that, and then come back in 30 days or 60 days and vote.
So
And we're not going to
que-
be meeting in it next
Yes.
month, so we got a little time.
So another question for council, are we ethically or morally responsible for tearing down the wheelchair ramp?
For what?
Tearing down
The
the
concrete?
concrete wheelchair ramp that's built onto the end of it?
I think it's going to have to be torn down in order to move
To
it.
get it out?
Yeah. So
Yeah, at least part of it.
if we're going to take the house, the building, then I think we should make sure that we leave a clean
No.
space.
Well, and that's probably part of the package that I would like us to put together, is to work with Dale or some representative of the cemetery board to find out what are their expectations, because when we
Right.
pull that building away, the rest of it may just fall over. Are we going to have to clean it up, or, and
So that's a good point. So I think now Wesley, of course, needs to check with his board, obviously, but he asked if the sidewalk could be kept, because the sidewalk goes in front of the sanctuary and along the side of the sanctuary, and then he wanted to keep that so that just in case, say, someone wanted to improve the sanctuary and do tremendous fundraisers, that they could have something to work with there. And, you know, that's up for their
Yeah,
board to
that's
decide.
fine. I just think we
So,
need to work out
Mhm.
what each other's expectations
Right.
are and cost and other things, so that we leave it in a condition that's agreeable to them, whatever that means. Again, hopefully that's not what's holding up the main building, but it could be.
Well, we try to make it very separate, so the structure for the bathroom and the other room are just separate. They're separated. And we put some metal over the gap, but they're very separate.
Okay, well, I would make a motion that we table this till at least the next meeting, so that we can gather more information about the resting place for it and all of the incidental cost and expectations for moving the building. So we can just gather more information.
Okay?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that's been made by Jaffe, seconded by Vincent, to postpone this until we have more details, till next meeting. All those in favor? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, boy, here we go.
Thanks, Josh.
Don't forget
He's the only one
Patrick.
awake. All right, so number 10. Do we have any comments on 10? Yes, we do. Okay. Chad West, are you still here, Chad?
Yeah.
Do you want to pass? Kinsey? Okay. Sherry Vinson? Okay. All right, so all those in favor of this motion to get the details next time and present it? Okay, all those in favor, and that passes unanimously. Okay. Okay, number J, general public comments. So we have Jack Sinkovich, I don't see him. Kinsey Salisbury, Josh Sinkovich, Sherry, what's that say?
That's her.
Sherry Vincent? Kevin Sinkovich? Mike Griffin? Timothy, somebody, DWG?
There's not a Timothy here.
Okay. Shelley Smith? Patrick Smith? Sherry Benson? Chad McFarland?
Chad McFarland, 19850 FM 986. Gentlemen of the council, I sent you an email about this issue, and it's my understanding that it's going to be an agenda item on a future meeting. I'd like to thank Councilman Fowler, Councilman Vinson, and Councilman Jaffe for actually taking the time to respond to my email. I'm here to take issue with the misleading information that was published in the May issue of the Poetry Post newsletter. In the synopsis of the April 19 meeting, it has this listed under general comments. Dale Bennett of the Campground Community Cemetery Board read a letter donating the church annex as a gift to the town. The town will have to move the annex building as the land cannot be sold or gifted. I've watched the video of that meeting. That is a gross misrepresentation of Dale Bennett's comments. When you allow such blatantly misleading information to be published next to the town seal, how do you expect anyone to trust anything this town does? If I'm going to be forced to be part of this town, I'm going to expect and demand that our town leadership be honest and truthful in all its public communications. If you ever expect to gain the trust of the town people, this deception must stop. Gentlemen of the council, you have the power here. You have the votes. Failure to take action to stop this type of propaganda is the same as condoning it.
Okay, Mr. McFarland, may I ask you something? So, one, what would you have liked to have said in 2 lines?
Any space limitations? Any space limitations about what was put in that newsletter are 100% self-imposed.
Okay, also, what I would rebut to that too, The clip that you put on social media was it not also altered? It did not contain all of the 100% of what Mr. Bennett said. So you clipped out quite a bit from the clip that you posted. It did not contain 100%.
Point of order.
Okay, point of order. So,
Emily, should we comment back on general comments? Should we comment back
Only
on general
factual
comments?
Yeah, we're not allowed to give opinions, only factual information. It was or
That is
wasn't
correct.
in the newsletter. It was.
okay, you're right. Okay,
But it's destined to be on the next agenda. Is that correct? Okay. More to come.
all right. Any other comments? Lori Giard, I guess she's gone. Okay. All right, with that said, it is time. All right, it's 11:35. Meeting adjourned.
That's the record.